All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Katie Weaver. It is the 2nd of February, and you are watching Unchurch. Unchurch with Katie Weaver. Something that we started way back in January, and well, actually, I think in December, to be honest, but here we are. I had always intended for this little broadcast to be quick and fun and uplifting, period. One thing I know is that many of us have taken a turn away from organized religion, which is fine, but maybe still crave a little bit of spiritual something, right? On a Sunday morning or any morning. So, Sundays it is. So, here we are. So, thank you for joining me, whether you're live or on a replay. I want to thank you for being here. This is a fun event. I enjoy it. I'm glad to be here with you. So, this is a 20-minute one and done. So I'm not going to keep you here forever, but I hopefully will say a few things that maybe resonate with your heart and give you something that you were looking for this morning. So here we are. I wanted to talk a little bit about the energy of right now. We are in the weirdest energy this week. So far this year actually has felt odd, which, that's been a staple for a while now, unfortunately, but it's this week has felt way off to a lot of you and to me as well. And so I did want to talk about that a little bit more so that we can work on it a little bit. So there's a few things that came up for me. One is that the collective consciousness is very volatile right now. There's a real win or lose kind of collective happening. There's an energy of you're in or you're out, you're good or you're bad, you're on my side or you're the enemy. And that has to do with politics. It has to do with religion. It has to do with ethnic groups. Like across the board, we have a lot of division happening right now, which is really unfortunate because at the end of the day, aren't we all one? We should be. We really are, whether we want to accept that or not. And so for me, we're definitely in a place where I feel like we've got to find a way beyond that. We have to find a way past having to win or lose, having to be on top, right? Having to ultimately be able to be the conquering hero or the champion while someone else is the loser, because no one's winning while we are keeping up this kind of a narrative. That's part of why the collective consciousness is so uncomfortable right now. Another part of it, and there's probably more things that I'm not going to hit on, but the two big ones for me this week. The other one is that we are actually encountering a pretty epic space storm right now. It was predicted to last for the first few months of this year. We'll see what happens. But what's happened currently is we're in a point in this electromagnetic space storm where we are actually experiencing a little bit less magnetic pull than we normally do. Doesn't mean that your feet aren't going to be securely on the floor, but it's very ungrounding for your spirit. So that's one of the things we're experiencing that's got people feeling really weird, is that you're not as grounded as you usually are. How do you know? Well, when you're not grounded, typically you will feel maybe anxious, depressed, uncomfortable in your skin, overstimulated easily, triggered, overthinking, inability to slow your mind down, inability to sleep, inability to concentrate or create. Those are all signs that your root chakra is out of balance, creating an imbalance in your crown. And that's really the problem. It's not so much the root, but what happens to your crown is you get so much energy built up in there that you're a mess. And so I've talked to a lot of people this week who are just really not feeling like themselves and are also feeling a lot of grief. Grief has been a huge topic this week. Not even current grief, a lot likely, but old grief coming to the surface, and that grief bringing a level of shame and guilt and regret that you thought maybe you were done with, or maybe you hadn't even experienced. But that's all what has shifted to the surface this week. It's created some real discomfort and unhappiness. In some people, it has created a lot of hostility, a lot of anger, My daughter is a CNA in a nursing home, and I was visiting with her last night about the current energy. And she said, you would be shocked at the hostility happening in the center right now. Not with the staff or this residents. She said the residents have been great. It's with the staff. She said nurses having screaming matches in the hallway. Uh, a nurse that actually attempted to hit her yesterday. Just a lot of really angry, bristly people right now. And that's just a small example, but we're just seeing a bunch of it. So, what the hell do we do about it? How do empaths like you and me get by in energy like this? How do we get through it in a way that we feel like we are still thriving? We are still getting by in a better way. How do you do it? Well, I have a few suggestions for you, and we are going to use a singing bowl today to just help clear you guys and help you to get more grounded and centered so that you can head out into your week in hopefully a little brighter energy. But for me, it is being the change that you want to see, right? If the world feels like hell, if you do too, that's what you're bringing to the world. That's your contribution. Now, look, I'm not shaming you. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just do, right? I'm not always a big fan of the fake it till you make it kind of energy. I think that you have to allow yourself to process through your emotions, but don't unpack your bags and live there. So you have a down day, great. Tomorrow, let's perk back up, or this evening, or whatever. Let's just not decide that this is who we are now or what our reality is now. It sure doesn't have to be. So, how do you be the change you want to see? Well, if the world for you is feeling hostile, be kinder than necessary. If the world around you is feeling angry and uncomfortable, offer some service. One of the fastest ways to shift out of a heavier energy is service. And there's a million opportunities for service all day, every day. Maybe it's as small as contributing to a GoFundMe that you see, from some story on Facebook that you read. Maybe it is buying the coffee of the person behind you or the McDonald's or whatever. Maybe it's about recognizing the mom in the grocery store with the screaming baby and putting her groceries on the conveyor belt for her. There are a million ways to be of service. The biggest key to that is just being aware. Keep your eyes open. Be constantly asking yourself, how can I help today? Right? How can I help today? What can I do that can lighten somebody else's load? And that has to be anybody else's load, you know? If you see somebody in the grocery store that's struggling, that in a MAGA hat, and you're way against that, that doesn't mean you shouldn't help them, right? If you see somebody with a flat tire with a bumper sticker that is offensive to you, that doesn't mean you shouldn't help them. In fact, it means you should, right? Because we have got to break down these barriers. We have to come back together as human beings, as people, instead of as what has been sold to us as the thing to do, right? Because this division doesn't need to exist. We are falling for something. We are allowing something that doesn't need to be here. And so it's your very best interest and mine and the world if we knock that off. So look for ways to serve. That's a really quick way to shift, a really quick way. And it's a quick way to help the world shift. I had written yesterday that, or Friday, that at this point, you need to throw your happy pebbles into the collective pond with reckless abandon because you have an infinite supply. So keep throwing funny, fun, happy, wonderful, joyful things into the world. Maybe that's sending a text to somebody to lift them up. Maybe it's sending something funny. Maybe it's posting a funny story or something great. Maybe it is visiting somebody that you know is having a tough time. You guys, I could give you 1,000. I mean, we could spend the entire show with me throwing out one suggestion after another, right? But I don't need to do that because you know. You know what you want to do, what you need to do, what resonates with your heart, right? I don't need to tell you. You guys are masters of service. I know that. But it is a reminder that when you're feeling low, weird, prickly, bajiggity, do it. Find a way to serve. I promise it will help you to feel better. So there is that. Something else that I feel like really helps when the world feels weird like this is to make sure that you are grounded and centered. If you're not, what you're contributing is more confusion and chaos. So, how do you get grounded when you're not? Well, I'm going to help you today. We're going to do some singing bowl work. But as a general rule, the root chakra, and this is the chakra that starts at the fork of your legs and runs through your legs into the earth. It's usually red. Some people see it as black. There's no wrong answer. But this is the chakra that rules safety and security. Think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the bottom of the pyramid, right? This is where we're talking about shelter, food, safety, security, money, jobs, basic needs sit right at the bottom, right? It's no different. So, right at the bottom of that pyramid, here we are, right? Here's where you are. And when that is shaken up, it throws everything else off. So, that's why it's so wildly important. Why is your root off? Well, it could be this collective energy. It could be the space storms. It could be that something has happened in your life that shakes up that sense of safety and security. Sometimes an illness, a shift in jobs, even political changes, things that, are way out of your scope of control will shift up the root. So there's a lot of reasons why you might be off, but ultimately sometimes it's not so much about addressing those as it is just finding a way to balance the root. So how do we do that? Well, lots of easy ways. One is just to get yourself outside. We happen to be in the time of year that a lot of people are inside a lot, right? And if you're lucky enough to live in a place that it's not, a winter wonderland, maybe you are out more. But then again, the days are shorter and we are busy people. And so we find people just in the house more than normal. So make sure that you are getting some time outside. When I worked in early childhood, one of the sayings was, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. In other words, you can always bundle up and get your fanny outside. So think about that and make sure that you are getting some outside time. Sometimes that's even just in taking a drive, and getting out, maybe even rolling down your window for a little while, breathing in some fresh air, just getting out. It's important. Another way to just help your root is to carry or wear a dark stone. A black tourmaline is really the rock star of grounding, but garnet is great. So is a smoky quartz, an onyx, an obsidian, a snowflake obsidian, a mahogany obsidian. Go wild. Whatever resonates with you is the right answer, per always. So carrying a dark stone right now would be key. Keep it in your pocket, in your bra, wear it. You decide. The way we activate the energy of crystal therapy is through pressure or heat. So you want to have your stone where it is getting one or both of those things. So that's why a lot of people like to put crystals in their bra or in their pocket because it gets the body heat and it gets some pressure. And that is exactly the way you get these things to work for you. So what I want to do is help you ground. So I'm going to help you ground by using a singing bowl. This is a super easy technique. Obviously, it doesn't work for everybody because not everybody has a singing bowl. But this works very well with drumming as well if you have a drum. So here's the bowl. This is a big old Tibetan singing bowl in the note of C. C is the note that resonates with the root. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to play the bowl twice. The first time I do it, I'm going to ask you to just focus your energy on your root and allow the frequency of the singing bowl to clear anything you're carrying that no longer serves you. Anything that might be contributing to you feeling stuck, weird, out of place, let's let it be gone. So that's the first step. So we'll start there. Perfect. Okay, so with clearing done, all we have to do is move on, pardon me, to some balancing. So this time, I'm going to play the bowl, and I'm going to ask you to envision red tree roots growing out of your feet and driving deep, deep, deep into the earth, really pushing your root deep into the earth. And then I'll take you through an exercise to draw that energy through you so that we can get your crown balanced too. So that's the next step. This time, just envision red tree roots growing out of your feet and driving them deep, deep, deep into the earth. Here we go. Good. Okay, so now focusing on those roots, we're going to draw the energy of the earth all the way up through your left foot. So just focus that energy now, drawing it up through your left foot, through your ankle, to your knee, to your hip, all the way up your side, to your shoulder, to the top of your head, and back down to your shoulder, down your side, through your hip, to your knee, to your ankle, and back down into the earth all the way through those roots. And again, a little faster this time, up through your root, to your foot, your ankle, all the way to your hip, to the top of your head, back down to your hip, your ankle, and back down into the earth. And one more time, much faster now, all the way from your foot to the top of your head and back down into the earth and around again and again. What we are creating is a reciprocal energy that's not only keeping you grounded, but is helping you to allow that energy to continue to flow. You can see your root chakra kind of like your kidneys. It's the cleaner. The root moves all the way through you in that sense, removing anything that you don't need anymore. Have you ever had an altercation with someone or some ugly words that just stuck in you all day long and you couldn't quit replaying it? You couldn't quit thinking about it. It was stuck, right? Somehow that ungrounded you. Your root wasn't doing its job. And so that energy was stuck in you, not moving through you and out. So that's one of the jobs of the root, is to keep your energy body moving and constantly clearing, self-clearing. So that's part of the big job. All right, so that is done. So that should help you immensely today to feel a little more like yourself. The other fun thing about today is that today is a palindrome that we absolutely never see. It is 0202 2020. A palindrome means that it is the same word written forwards or backwards, like madam, right? But 2020 or 0202 2020. What does it mean for you? Well, it just means that it's a good shift of energy. We're hoping it's a great shift of energy today. I suspect it will be. I suspect we're going to move into next week feeling less uncomfortable, less prickly, seeing less angry and unhappy people around us. I do believe that that's the reality that we're heading into. Today is a good day for you to decide what you want to leave behind. Grudges, old angers, things that you haven't forgiven others for or yourself for. This is a great day to decide that you're ready to let them go. Remember that forgiveness doesn't mean that you're saying that what the other person did was okay. It means that you're saying that you're not going to let it beat you up anymore, that you're all done letting it be a part of your story and a part of your rhetoric. So consider that as you move forward today. What do you want to be done with? What do you want to let go of? Moving forward a little lighter, a little freer, and hopefully a little more joyful. That's the hope. Guys, we have done it. We've talked down to the end of our bit here. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Melody. Thank you for joining me. Thanks, you guys. If you want to learn more about me, of course, just head over to katie-weaver.com. It's all there. So have a happy Sunday. Have a wonderful week. As always, I'll be here to support you. Take care.